A very good evening, everyone, from the Sheraton Boston Hotel here in Beantown. Time for our Fenway Bowl preview show as Army headed to a bowl game for the 7th time in the last 10 years. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll take on the UConn Huskies out at Fenway Park, a 2:15 kick time from Fenway. Black Knights have been here for the past 4 days. Happy holidays to everyone listening and watching our show. Lot to talk about in the next hour. Lots of special guests, but we welcome the star of our show. How about this week in Army football? Welcome on the road here in Boston to the head coach of the Black Knights, the final game of year number 12 of his tenure. How about a big welcome to Jeff Monken, leading Army once again into postseason play. And Jeff, great to be back with you. And I love doing these bowl game shows because it's a great way to end a season.
It is. Thanks for doing this, Rich. Excited to be here. Excited to be in Boston. Great sports town, and our guys are excited. It's awesome to play in the postseason. Really special to have that opportunity. Growing up, watching all the bowl games, I just thought it was the greatest thing to be able to be a part of one of those, and here we are again. So excited about tomorrow.
We mentioned the 7th bowl game in your tenure. There's been one in Dallas, 3 in Fort Worth, and there's been one in Shreveport, Louisiana, up here in Boston, Fenway Park. I'll tell you, when you look at all the sites of bowl games, this has to be one of the really special venues to host a postseason game.
There's no question about it. To be able to play at Fenway Park, just an iconic stadium. We took the team over there a couple nights ago, and they took us on a tour, and the boys got to go out in the outfield and toss the ball around and go inside the Green Monster and hit some balls in the batting cage. What a treat and a thrill for us. As I was coming into the stadium and then going up the escalator and seeing the Hall of Fame, the names of the players, and many of these were before I was a young boy and watching baseball, but so many of them, the names of guys I saw growing up, and it was just awesome, just to jog my memory and to go down memory lane, looking at all those names and the pictures and the Hall of Fame plaques. Man, just the Boston Red Sox, for Yankees fans, they don't want to hear it. I'm a Cubs fan, but just great history and a great organization.
And I think one of the common threads between Cubs fans and Red Sox fans, a long time to win a World Series, number one. Number two, a ballpark that has been updated but kept in the original shell, the original configuration. Can't say that about a lot of other ballparks across the country. And you said it, Jeff. It's just so impressive how you can see the old concourses, the old ticket booths. They've turned into little memorabilia windows where you can see historic Red Sox team memorabilia. Really just a special place to be around.
It is. I noticed that too about the ticket booths and how they were at one time on the outside of the stadium, and I kind of walked up to one thinking, gosh, this is just awesome. And so the old stadiums, I have a great appreciation for. Obviously, Mikey Stadium, great historic stadium. But going to Wrigley Field growing up, and when I was a kid, Comiskey Park, the old Comiskey Park,
that's right,
was still open, and that was a great stadium. And I was disappointed they tore it down and built a new stadium. But there's unfortunately been some of those that have gone by the wayside. Glad to see Fenway Park and Wrigley Field and places like that still hanging on, and I hope they'll always be there.
So how have the last 3 days been since your team arrived here in Boston a few days ago?
Well, it's been busy. The guys arrived here on Tuesday. We actually had a practice on Tuesday evening. Boston College is good enough to, and the bowl game, Wasabi Fenway Bowl, created some space for us over there in their indoor facility, and they were just first class. There were folks from Boston College to meet us and take good care of us. We've been able to really treat it like our own practice facility. So we practice there each day. We've had meetings in between, walkthroughs, our normal routine, but we've also had some events for our guys. They got to go on a harbor cruise out on a boat and kind of see the city from the water. Had a nice lunch. We took them out for a great dinner on Christmas Eve, which they really enjoyed, the whole team together. So just doing some events together, spending time together, and these guys have had some free time, which is nice. They don't get a whole lot of that during the school year, so it's nice for them to have some free time and walk around town, and walk around this mall that's connected to the hotel here, and so when you're at a bowl game and it's the holidays like this, and so many of our guys away from their families at Christmas, it's nice to be a part of a team that really feels a sense of brotherhood like we do, and these guys, they feel a sense of family, and I think they've really enjoyed the time together here.
Brotherhood, no doubt, is strong. So your team here having an experience at the Fenway Bowl, which really does a great job for being in the Northeast, not being in a traditionally warm weather climate, to give its participating teams a tremendous experience. Let's talk about that other team that will be on the same sideline as you tomorrow. Fenway Bowl, the only college bowl game where both teams are on the same sideline. That'll be the 9-3 UConn Huskies. They are the defending champions of the Fenway Bowl, defeating North Carolina here 1 year ago. 9 wins, second straight year. Head coach Jim Mara moved on to Colorado State. They have interim coach Gordon Samus. This has been a very, very impressive program the past couple of years.
They have been, and to have the success that they've had there, a real credit to Coach Mora, to their staff, and to their team. And that it's not easy to play in this day and age outside of a conference, and to be able to develop a roster and retain guys. And they've done a really good job of that. They had 2 young men that accompanied them to the press conference today. Both those guys have spent their career at UConn, and just an impressive team. They're physical, they're tough. Play great defense, run the ball on offense, but I think that really fits Coach Moore's style and his personality as a leader, as a coach, and so they're going to be a very formidable opponent, and we know it's going to be a tremendous challenge. They got a lot to play for, obviously, for a 10-win season, and to back-to-back bowl champions here in Fenway. So our guys know that there's going to be a test. They know that we're going to be challenged tomorrow, and athletically, those guys are very, very good, and a lot of weapons. But our guys are going to play hard. They're going to play tough, and we're going to do the very best we can to play our brand of football, and hope that'll be good enough.
Jeff, you look at UConn, and a storyline for them has been the opt-outs in this bowl game. Their starting quarterback, Joe Fignano, who had a terrific year, 25 touchdowns, only 1 interception. The 2 starting offensive tackles and a tight end opting out of the game, but their running back, Cam Edwards, who had a 1,000-yard season, and their wide receiver, Skylar Bell, UConn's first team consensus All-American, set to play in this game. What kind of challenges would it be? Opportunities? Has the opt-outs made it, maybe it's not as easy to prepare for a team where you're not exactly sure what you're going to do at those spots?
Well, I don't know that, Rich, frankly, that it makes such a big difference as people would think. They've got good players. The guys that they'll have that'll step in for them are very capable, and I'm certain prepared. The opt-outs didn't happen yesterday, so those guys have known for a couple of weeks that they were going to be the starter, and they've had a chance to prepare and practice, and so they'll have their team ready. And they've got some guys, obviously, very challenging. The running back, just a very, very outstanding runner. Fast, physical, and that receiver, he's as good as anybody in the country. That's why he's a consensus All-American. And there's a lot of people that watch him and probably feel like, I wish that guy was on our team. And he's a good player. So we're going to have some guys tested on defense for sure. But offensively, they are really, really good on defense. They're fast. They move around. They play multiple fronts. So. Again, it's not they're not sitting ducks over there all day long. A lot of movement, a lot of twists, and so we're going to have our hands full against these guys.
Lastly, the weather. Winter storm expected tonight through much of the Northeast. Supposed to get 7-8 inches over at West Point. That weather will continue up here toward Boston. Not sure how much precipitation there will be, but the field might very well be frozen or close to frozen. How does that affect what you are hoping to do out there tomorrow?
I think probably a frozen field affects everybody, and I don't know if it affects everybody equally. We're just going to have to figure out where those spots are on the field where it's particularly challenging, and probably make some concessions for that, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. Kicking a ball in a frozen field, or trying to plant and drive as a DB or to make a cut. And when we know there's some frozen places on the field, there was some rain the other night. It's gotten really cold, the 20s today. It's going to be in the 20s tomorrow. So there's going to be some places on the field that are going to be probably very slick and icy, but we'll have to deal with it. And before the game tomorrow, we'll be able to walk it and figure out where those spots are and perhaps, where we have to caution guys and alert them. But it's unique. Like you said, playing a bowl game in the Northeast, it is different, and this is one of the things that comes with it. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. That both teams on the same sideline. You probably remember. You can probably call the names out of the teams that did that. But I remember when I was a kid seeing teams that would share a baseball stadium, wherever it was, whether it was in San Diego or St. Louis or wherever, and they'd have both NFL teams on the same sideline.
Metropolitan Stadium in Minnesota.
There you have it. I knew Rich would know.
Seattle Bowl up in T-Mobile Park. I want to say, were you part of a bowl game in San Francisco where you were on the same sideline? Okay.
In the Giant Stadium, yeah. And so it won't be my first time, but obviously there's some different things. When the ball is down at the far end and you can only go to the 45 on this side of the 50, signaling and substituting and all those things become a bit of a challenge. So that'll be new, and that'll be something we're going to have to work through as the game goes along.
We're here for the hour until 6 o'clock on This Week in Army Football, our special Fenway Bowl preview edition. We want to welcome in a third member of our broadcast crew here tonight. Austin Pert will be on the microphone. Austin, if you have a question, we're welcoming you here to the broadcast, so Austin is going to get his wireless microphone. If anyone has a question, you can find Austin. We had given him the lowdown of how to handle the wireless. Now he's handling it, getting it. Austin, are you ready? You ready for your debut?
Yep.
Okay. You have a question for Coach?
Coach, he's got a beer over there too, just in case he gets a little nervous. So he's going to calm his nerves a little bit with a. Austin, with a good brew. Sam Adams, I guess, in this town. I saw the sign over at Fenway.
The wireless microphone operator.
So, Coach, number of bowl games in your tenure here at Army. How is this bowl and getting ready for the Fenway Bowl different than any of the other bowl games you've done here?
The preparation is very much the same. We try to stay consistent with how we practice and our meeting times and the walkthroughs and just everything that we do to prepare for a football game. But obviously, every city, every bowl game is a different experience, and this has been fantastic. This is a great sports town, and everybody since the time we arrived have been just very welcoming, have embraced us coming here, and especially the trip over to Fenway a couple of nights ago. That was awesome. I mean, they had hot dogs and Cracker Jack and popcorn and hot chocolate for the guys. Each guy got a baseball bat. This is maybe the most unique bowl gift that we've ever gotten. It's a baseball bat engraved with their name and the Fenway Bowl, which is a really great souvenir for our players. But be able to tour that iconic stadium and see the Green Monster, get out there in the outfield, guys hitting batting practice, very unique. So it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully our guys have enjoyed it and just enjoyed the time together. They seem to be, but now we're out on the eve of game day, so we got a lot of business at hand right now.
Austin, we look forward to hearing from you in our final segment with some questions from the audience. Austin Pert from the Army Athletic Communications Office helping us out on tonight's show. When we come back, our first special guest, Grayson Baker, the sophomore defensive lineman, a native of Greater Boston. We'll catch up with him on our Fenway Bowl preview show coming up in just a moment, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. Go! And welcome back to This Week in Army Football. Your West Point PX is the place to go to score big with military exclusive pricing and tax-free savings. Stop by your West Point Exchange to find out more. Moving right along here on This Week in Army Football, I'd like to thank Sydney and the crew here at the Sheraton Hotel Boston setting us up. Jeff, this is a tremendous setup. They gave us speakers, a table, this area, and the restaurant lobby. Just tremendous.
This is a great hotel. We've really enjoyed staying here. It's first class. When we came in, we were just blown away, and they told us this brand newly renovated and just reopened, and so we feel like they rolled the red carpet out for us.
And we appreciate all the accommodations. Tremendous staff here at the Sheraton Hotel Boston. Time now for our first special guest here on This Week in Army Football, a sophomore from Worcester, just down the road here in Massachusetts. He was a tight end in high school, a prolific tight end at Wachusett High School, member of your defensive line that has found a tremendous role as a sophomore on the kick block unit. How about This Week in Army Football? Welcome number 93, Grayson Baker, joining us here on This Week in Army Football. And Grayson, you're here 2 years at West Point, 2 bowl games. Pretty good start.
Yes, sir. It's been great.
So tell me about the experience this week. That's all I'm hearing from folks, how great Boston has been, being out at Fenway Park, the things you've been able to do as a player. What's that experience been like?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Getting to be with the team. Going to Fenway a couple of days ago was crazy, especially being from Massachusetts, growing up, watching the Sox, the Celtics, Pats, all that. It was a crazy experience. Getting to go up on the Green Monster, walk around Fenway, throwing the ball with my buddies, my teammates. It's been great. So it's been an unbelievable experience.
Jeff, Grayson comes to Army to play football, and he gets to live out one of his dreams at Fenway Park.
Pretty fantastic, and they wouldn't recognize him anymore when he was down there. If anybody from Worcester saw this guy, they think it was a different player. You probably going to talk about it, but I think he's gained about 80 pounds since he's been here. He's 295 now?
Right around there. Yes.
What'd you come in here at? About 225?
235 maybe.
There you go. So this guy's really developed, and he's throwing the ball around out there. The guys from the Red Sox probably said, hey, they'd be a good guy on the mound for a closer there. 6'6", whatever you are, 6'10", and 290.
So listed at 6'7". We're going to go with what's listed, which maybe isn't the reality of the situation. 6'7", 275, and in high school, a prolific tight end. Jeff, actually, let's start with you. What did you see in Grayson in recruiting him that he would be able to fill this role on your team?
We always look for guys with redeeming qualities, guys with great length, guys with great speed, guys with great athleticism, guys who are physical, and just the frame. I mean, obviously, the guy that's
you can't teach that
6'6" plus, a great frame. We really felt like he could develop and grow and get bigger, and we didn't know if he'd be a tight end, if he'd be an offensive tackle, if he'd be a defensive end. But we felt like he'd be something for us, and so. He's done a great job to come in as a freshman, and you just get in line. You get in line with all the other guys that are at your position, and that's the case at Army. There's a lot of guys on the roster, and you gotta fight your way up the depth chart, and that's what he did. He came in and battled at tight end, and we just said, look, we feel like you can help our football team somewhere, and perhaps this move to defensive end might be a good move for you to be able to develop, to contribute, and maybe contribute a little bit earlier. So he embraced it, and as I said, has really developed. So a guy that's 6'6" plus, a guy with a frame like he's got, we knew he could carry some weight, and literally he is over 290 pounds now, and that's a pretty good sized defensive lineman. So he's going to grow into that position and grow into the body that he's got now, and I think there's just a great future for him at defensive end.
Grayson, what does it take for you to believe in that, right? You're doing one thing in high school. You come to West Point playing football, and hey, there might be another opportunity for you. How did you process that and embrace the opportunity, maybe to do something different than you thought you were coming for, and a way to, in the greater sense, help the team?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Like, you gotta trust your coaches, and you gotta be like, look, like this guy probably knows a little bit more about the sport than me. He's been doing it a lot longer than me, and if he sees something in me, I'm gonna trust him. And when he gave me the opportunity to move the defensive end. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, you're right. I have a big frame. Like, I can put on a bunch of weight. Let's see what I can do. Let's get to work. So.
We've talked to a lot of players about this Fenway Bowl coming up tomorrow. 2:15 kick time at Fenway Park. Airtime across the Army Sports Network at noon with the Army Football Tailgate Show. And it's twofold. It's sending the seniors out their last game as winners. It's also, and we had a good talk with Cody Harris-Miller about this last week, which you could hear on the pregame show tomorrow. It's also a jump start to 2026, this game. Jeff, when you look at Grayson, where do you see him evolving in the offseason into next season?
Well, that's one of the things I'm excited about. When a guy comes in as a freshman here, the growth, the change between their freshman and sophomore year oftentimes is the biggest growth physically. And it's difficult sometimes for them to be comfortable in that new body. And look at a guy like Brett Toth.
Yeah.
Brett Toth is 6'6", 220 pounds. By the time he was a sophomore, he was 265, and then he was 280, and then he was 305 as a senior. I mean, his body was changing, but none more than that time between his freshman and sophomore year. And so it just takes him some time to grow into that body, and that's why I'm really excited for Grayson is this spring, having had this frame and feeling very comfortable in the body he's got and learning the defenses he has over the course of this year to be able to get in there and compete this spring and really gain some confidence through the spring practices, through the summer workouts, preseason camp, and I'm excited about next fall and seeing this guy out there playing a bunch of snaps for us on defense.
Tomorrow, when you see snaps, so what would it mean to win this game? You could ask that to any player, of course, that it's a great way to finish out the year. We talk about the jump start into 2026, but because you're from the area, because you've grown up a Red Sox fan, what would a win in this game mean to you?
It'll be crazy to get a win in Fenway Park. I mean, like, how many people can say they've done that before? Won a sports game in Fenway Park. It'll be crazy. And to do it with my teammates, for the seniors going out, it'll be a great slingshot into the 2026 season. So,
well, Grayson, we appreciate the time. Jeff, you got a good one here. This is going to be a big contributor the next couple
Let's
of years.
hope so.
Grayson Baker joining us here on our This Week in Army Football Fenway Bowl preview show here from the Sheraton Hotel in Boston. When we come back, our next special guest right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. Go. And welcome back to This Week in Army Football, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee. Find it at your local Walmart, grocery store, or at blackrifle.com. Moving right along with Army head coach Jeff Monken, I'm Rich DeMarco, and now we're going to be joined by someone who has a Black Rifle Coffee mug that he uses, and that's the 31st Athletic Director here at the United States Military Academy. How about a Fenway Bowl preview this week in Army football? Welcome to Tom Theodorakis. Tom, welcome. Theo, welcome. How did I say that like that? Come on.
Thank you,
welcome
Rich.
your first bowl game as Athletic Director.
So excited, and what a tremendous venue, what a tremendous atmosphere right now. You can see our fans really excited about tomorrow's matchup.
So take me through this first year and what you've been able to experience in the lead share and culminating here in what's a great experience for this team, this program, this staff, and for you.
You know, we were so fortunate, Rich. I'm so fortunate where we have such amazing coaches. You know, my job's just to get out of their way, you know, and try not to mess it up. So when you have amazing coaches like Coach Monken here, who's, you know, set a foundation and a culture here, we just want to make sure that, you know, things are going in the right direction. We just want to help them out there. So for me, very fortunate to be in a role where kind of right from the get-go, you know, this wasn't a rebuild. It was how do we just continue to get this thing going down the right direction, and how do we make it better?
Jeff, your first season working with Theo in terms of him being the AD. You've been with him for the last few years since 2022. Just take me through this year working with Theo, and here we are, the Fenway Bowl to close out 2025.
It's been great. Obviously, the familiarity with Theo being around here. We work together a lot. He's been so instrumental in bringing people from out, though they're West Pointers sometimes, just the people from outside of the gates of West Point, and getting them invited back in and getting them engaged. And he just did a tremendous job with that. You talk to people who are close to the program, people who love Army sports and love West Point, and Theo was such a big part of them feeling so connected over the last couple of years. So just been great to work with him. He's been incredibly supportive of our program, our coaches and players. But I think that's, you know, that would be echoed by our other coaches with our other sports as well. And he takes such an interest. You see him at all the events. You see him at games and matches and practices, and just what you want what you hope the AD will be. Somebody that's there and a support to you, and whatever you need, he's right there to help you.
Rich, by the way, I paid him to say all that. So
I know. I
tried to do that as well.
Rumors,
like you wrote it down for
rumors. Theo, I'm going to ask you a question here, and it's interesting because today was at the press conference in the morning, brought equipment to the booth. I purposely got lost around Fenway Park. I just want to walk and just take a random concourse in, right? And if anyone asks me, I just got lost. When I think of you, I think of a lot of what you have brought to the table and continued is a vision of what we're doing with Michie Stadium, right? The Michie Stadium Preservation Project, embracing our history with modern amenities. And it's not going to stop there, right? We're talking about the west side, other parts of the stadium. Is there something you can take from looking at Fenway Park about the way they've modernized but kept that beautiful feel, an old school feel that you feel you could apply to West Point?
Rich, 100%. You know, we're always trying to rip people off. You know, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? What have others done? And a lot of what the new Michie is elements taken from other institutions. So 100%. Looking at Fenway, it's, you know, they've kept the charm of it, right? And what makes it so special, yet they have modernized it. So I think we're constantly looking to do that. And now's the time to do it, right? We need to invest in our success now. And I'd say that to all the alums that are listening, everyone who's involved in Army West Point athletics. You don't stop investing in athletics. We need to keep doing it now, keep putting the foot on the gas so we can continue to do these types of things.
MichieStadium.com, and that, I'll tell you, that Michie Stadium Preservation Project, it seemed like it was this North Star that was a ways away. It's like when they announce a city hosting the Olympics or the World Cup or the Super Bowl. It's like, oh, and then suddenly it's coming.
It's
right?
happening.
So we're like 6 months out. What are you most excited about? What can our fans that are driving by Michie Stadium, that I'll tell you what's beautiful, you see the structure up now, you see all the work they got to do on the inside. What are the benchmarks coming up over the next few months that fans can expect before, you know, summer 26 is going to be huge?
You know, I think when you look at it now, you see the glass, right, Coach?
That's right.
And I think, you know, to steal General Gillen's line, he goes, it was once a construction, site. Now it looks actually like it's an actual venue. When you start seeing the glass, you know, it's starting to get enclosed now, where it actually almost looks like it's done. So To your point, it's almost reality. And I think what we're talking about right now is how do we continue to make sure that when we're actually able to open this and it becomes, time to cut the ribbon, that we're as prepared as we need to be to make sure it's the best experience possible.
And it was announced since the last time we've been with you on This Week in Army Football, Saturday, September 5th. Mark it on your calendars. Army and Bryant to open up the new Mikey Stadium is really what it is. Jeff, and I'll start with you then, Theo. How excited are you? That's the date. Look, we've called it the Mikey Stadium Preservation Project. There's so much equity in that, but the reality is this is the new Mikey Stadium for the next 100 years. How excited are you?
We are excited. We're excited about just what it's going to create from an atmosphere standpoint. That side and how it's kind of reaching up into the sky and the sound and how it will reverberate off all that glass. And I think it's going to create an even better atmosphere at Mikey Stadium. And I know that our fans are excited about getting a chance to get their butts in the seats over there and getting their hands on all of the new and shiny stuff over there. But that's that's like you talked about the old iconic stadiums that find a way to upgrade, and people will still see the same Mikey Stadium. Will still be that historic stadium built in the 1920s with just a modern feel, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
Levy, as a food and beverage partner, came in this year, a few years under our belt with Fanatics handling our merchandising. Theo, can fans, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I will, can they expect a great experience September 5th?
They can. You know why? Not just because of the building, but because of the football team and the leader we have of our football program, and that's the guy sitting to my left. As much as we try to make sure the stadium's right, how fortunate are we to have a leader in Coach Monken, who has continuously over time built this program to amazing levels and continues to win at such a high level. We're just so fortunate to have him.
No better fit for a coach and school than Jeff Monken at Army West Point. I truly believe that. Theo, what's the plans for tomorrow? I know you got a lot of family here. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a reward, a bowl game. Army's got to get the win, though.
That's my daughter, Olivia, right there. I was supposed to say her name.
Olivia,
there we go.
Welcome
there she is.
to This Week in Army Football Fenway Bowl Preview Edition. Welcome, Olivia.
No, it's take it all in, right? I think we talk about creating moments and special experiences. Like, how fortunate are we to be in these roles, Coach, and Rich, to have these types of opportunities to take in this history, take in these types of unique experiences. We're just so fortunate. I just can't wait for it.
That's just exciting. We're living the dream.
Exactly.
I'm living the dream. And then I'm just living it. This is Theo. Appreciate all you do, your leadership. Thank you for joining us here on our Fenway Bowl preview show.
Beat UConn.
AD number 31, Tom Fedorakis, joining us here on This Week in Army Football. When we come back, our next special guest will talk more about the Fenway Bowl on This Week in Army Football right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. 3. And welcome back to the Sheraton Boston Hotel. We are one day out. What are we at? You're looking at it 20 so hours away, 18 hours away from the 2025 Fenway Bowl. It'll be Army taking on UConn. 2:15 kick time tomorrow from Fenway Park. Airtime across the Army Sports Network at noon with the Army Football Tailgate Show. Army Football brought to you by PenFed. Great rates for everyone. Visit PenFed.org to learn more. Rolling right along, Rich DeMarco alongside Army head coach Jeff Monken and our third special guest tonight. We've talked a lot about the experience at Fenway Park for this Fenway Bowl and the man responsible for putting it all together, the executive director of the Fenway Bowl. How about it this week in Army football? Welcome to Brett Miller joining us here on the show. Brett, welcome. And I'll tell you, I just got up here early this morning, and from the press conference, the way you rolled everything out, and from hearing from everyone, this has been first class all the way. Congratulations to you and your team for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. It's mostly my team, but yeah, no, we're happy to be here. We're happy you guys are happy to be here, and it's been a pretty special week, I think, from what we've heard so far. So it's been great. We're just gearing up for the big day tomorrow.
Jeff, you've had a lot of bowl game experiences at some different institutions. What's impressed you the most of what Brett's team has put together?
Just the uniqueness of this game. And I think you play a game at a stadium like Fenway. It's an iconic baseball park, and they don't try so hard to push baseball aside and say, okay, we're just going to be a football game now. They embrace who they are and the history of Fenway Park. So when our guys went to the stadium the other night, they didn't have footballs out there for them to toss around. They got gloves and baseballs out, and had the batting cage open. They served us the Fenway Franks, the hot dogs, which I had to get on a few guys for putting ketchup on a hot dog, which is sacrilege in Chicago. Mustard only on a hot dog, but popcorn and Cracker Jacks, and as I talked about the ball bats. I mean, that's the greatest bowl
how can
game.
you beat that? Like,
Man,
no one can
everybody gives a
outdo
football.
that.
Only at Fenway you get a baseball bat, and they were so kind that and they received us the other night and were so gracious as hosts. But I got a sign from the Green Monster.
That was impressive.
With my last name on it. It's the signs that they hang out there with the teams or the names of the batters, and man, I mean that's the most awesome gift I've gotten at a bowl game. There's no doubt about it. So I have no idea where I'm going to be able to fit that anywhere to hang it up, but man, what a really cool memento for me. So we really appreciate the folks at Fenway and the Boston Red Sox and the Wasabi team that has been the lead sponsor for this game. I mean, just been first class all the way around.
Now we got Danny Weil, the Army team photographer, here tonight, and he took that picture of the Monken sign that made its way around social, and I had a number of people saying, is this real, what they gave Monken? Yeah. Brett, I'll tell you what, you made a comment to me. We met earlier today, and you said this is a growing bowl game, only in its fourth year. What have you learned? What are really the tenets of this bowl game and how you want to receive teams and give them the experience in addition to a great game?
Yeah, look, we are the youngest bowl in the country. There are 42 bowl games. We got into the bowl business in 2020, and we said, how do we differentiate while still being ourselves, right? So the Red Sox, Fenway, we do a couple things well. Hospitality is one of them, so that was always going to be sort of a central point of everything we did. But then how do we set ourselves apart? How do we lean on things that no one else can do? So you mentioned the baseball bats, you mentioned the Fenway Franks. Those are things that are sort of endemic to our brand and our experience. And, you know, Coach Monken, to your point, rather than shy away from those and make it all about football, there's clearly a football field out there, but really lean into our heritage. You know, we've been hosting football for well over 100 years at Fenway. The bowl is unique, and so we've really just learned from everybody else, including our Yankee friends, we're allowed to say that, and try to make this the best possible experience for everybody involved and make it special that, you know, that are going to elicit reactions like Coach Monken just had.
That's tremendous. When you were in your bowl selection process, what was it about Army? Because you have a very high selection in the American Conference, so let's not, avoid it. Army was selected very, very high for that Fenway Bowl.
Yeah, it is really, really easy answer. It's Army. It's West Point. It is on a personal level. We're not supposed to mix personal feelings with business, but most of my family is Army. I have a lot of West Pointers in my family, and so first of all, I wouldn't be welcome home for holidays if I had the opportunity to select West Point and didn't. But we've been following you all since we got into the bowl business. Understand how your fans travel, how your players show up, and not too many opt-outs, not too many transfer portal kids coming from West Point, so that means a lot, and you all have backed it up every step of the way, and so I think our TV ratings are going to be off the charts, but most importantly for us, the experience in Fenway tomorrow being filled up with the Army faithful is going to be a pretty powerful experience, we think.
So I'm just, curious of a football game in a baseball stadium. You mentioned both teams on the same sideline, Jeff. It's something that's happened, in a handful of bowl games over the years. What are some of the other unique things? You mentioned a few of them that fans could expect when they're at the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a couple things. One, we have a pregame fan fest on the field. We, going back to leveraging what we have and what no one else can do. Who else can say you can stand on the outfield of Fenway Park or a baseball field? I know our friends at the Yankees don't do that. So, step one, stand in front of the Green Monster, have a beer.
You're nice to call them friends, by the way.
Friends, PC.
This guy knows about rivalry. I mean, we got people that know about rivalry.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah. So we got the fan fest before. Have a beer on the field, have a Fenway Frank in front of the Monster, watch West Point warm up, and then flipping the script to post. For the first time ever, we're actually having a post-game show, post-game concert featuring Riley Green, starting 30 minutes before. And I think the teams are going to be almost on the road at that point. But we're pairing country music with a football game. What could go wrong? So yeah, look, there's a lot of other quirks. We kill suites for broadcast booths and coaches booths. We put our game officials in an umpire room, and they have to come out of the dugout tunnel. So we lean into those. I think it makes it special. And I think, well, Coach, I know you'd probably prefer to have a normal sort of setup with teams on different sidelines. I think hopefully we find that it's not a hindrance to the coaching and to the gameplay, and it doesn't take away from the experience at all. So.
Jeff, I'm going to say with him up here, how impressive is Brett and the things that the Fenway Bowl does? This is, we've been to a number of bowl games. They've all been great, all awesome experiences. Just from seeing on the social how the storytelling has been done from the Army creative team, and just talking to Brett and hearing the things, this is really cool.
It is. It's a first class organization running a first class bowl game, and we're just very fortunate to be here. Excited to be here, and we know it's going to be a great challenge tomorrow playing UConn, and they'll have a great crowd as well. But just the uniqueness of all of it. Whether you're in the outfield of a baseball stadium, you're coming out of a dugout, you're on the same sideline with the other team. I mean, that's part of the. I think that's part of the nostalgia of this game, part of the excitement and the memories of this game.
Well, Brett, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and hopefully Army's back here again in the not-too-distant future.
If we have anything to say about it, they will, but yeah. Let it breathe for a couple years.
They pick pretty high in the American Bowl game selections. That's Brett Miller. We thank you. Brett Miller, Executive Director of the Fenway Bowl, joining us here on This Week in Army Football. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with some questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken right here from the Sheraton Boston Hotel on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. And that
ball and West Point, and it's one of the unique things about this program and this school. And every team's got people that care. West Point's America's team, and there's people everywhere that care about this program, this team, our cadets, and this institution. So really proud to be here and proud to represent.
we welcomed a third member to our broadcast crew today in our opening segment, Austin Pert, who does a great job. Austin, you're out there. You have any other questions for Coach before we say goodbye? Well, we have a question, and that is the General, Lieutenant General Steve Gilland.
All right, Coach.
Superintendent.
All right, here's the question. All right, when we see, UConn, they've got some, they've had some people that have gone to the portal and such. What do we think? How do we see our defense tomorrow match up? We're going to see some different schemes that Coach Woody is going to lay out there with regards to some pressure, given the inexperience that we might be seeing on the other side of the ball.
That's a really good question, and I think there's some unknowns out there that we're going to have to find out once the game gets going. They're going to have a different quarterback. Obviously, their great running back, great receiver are still playing in the game. Yes. Those two guys are phenomenal.
Yep.
And we're just going to have to kind of see what they settle into, and if they're really leaning on the run game, or if they're trying to get that receiver the ball in space. That Coach Woody will kind of gear his game plan toward that. He does such a terrific job, but UConn's going to make it tough. They're very talented. They're very well coached, and they'll present some challenges for us. And I think the field's going to present some challenges. Just the icy field and just how well we handle that with our own players.
Hey, Rich, can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
All right, Coach, I've got one play of eligibility left. What will you put me in on?
Let's see. That's a good question.
You got to get to dinner so you can duck out.
Maybe carrying the flag out before the game. How's that?
Well, I don't want to pull a hammy. That's for sure. Maybe, hey, how about this? Punt block. How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Running
General
down on the
Gilland.
kickoff team. Straight ahead, straight line.
12th man, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. Jeff Monken would like to thank Tom Theodorakis, Grayson Baker, Brett Miller, and also Danny, Tony, Zach Brett keeping us on the air. Rich DeMarco saying so long. Fenway Bowl tomorrow, Army and Connecticut.